So anybody who's kind of got that niche, that specialty that they're really good at, we try to help them, take what they already know and try to get that on the web and make sure that, Google knows that they know answers to these questions. So that's a big part of what we're doing, is trying to help people, develop content on the web that answers people's questions.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Tom Sliker. He's the founder and owner at Broadstreet.net. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you. So Tom, why don't you start and tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Tom Sliker. My company is Broadstreet.net, and my background is in software development. I went to college for that, started out as a developer, and kind of spent most of my career in IT management and large project management, software implementation projects and stuff like that. And, so through the 90s, I always, I was managing projects and things, but I always kind of had this little side gig, just like staying up on the latest current technology. So I was developing web pages, myself, since the 90s, and, started, I had my second child was starting college, and I thought I could use, make a few extra bucks on the side by helping friends, build a website. And so that's how I got started in probably around 2000. And then had a couple of those new customers where I had built them websites, and they were starting to realize the value of having something out on the web, being able to sell things online. So little by little, they kept asking more of me. And so we grew the business. Both of my, two of my kids worked their way through school, working for me, and learned to become, one's a web developer now, and the other one is a marketing manager, but they kind of worked their way through high school and college, helping me out. And I've been doing it full time for just over 10 years. Left my corporate job and been basically helping small businesses grow, using the internet to grow their business. That's kind of our focus area.
That's fantastic. So tell me more about Broadstreet.net.
Sure. We have a diverse team. We're mostly remote. We have a small office here in South Carolina. We're like this summer, we've got a couple interns coming in, so there'll be 4 or 5 of us in the office most of the summer. But we service a broad range of customers, a lot of different niches. Not really focused on a particular area, but really more the principles that apply, to any business. And so a lot of, web development is definitely a part of what we do. We do large projects, we do e-commerce projects, things like that. And then the ongoing support and the ongoing relationship is really where we're mostly kind of our strong suit, is helping you as a business to continue to grow with the technology, to take advantage of all the things that are out there. And then we provide staff. We do content development, content marketing, social media marketing, email marketing. We're a Google partner, so Google Ads is a big part of what we do. So we're kind of experts in that area. And so when you're ready to grow your business, we can offer you a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different options.
Wow, there's a wide range of services that Broadstreet.net is able to service, because I heard, web development, I heard technical support, I heard content and, email marketing, Google Ads. There's a ton of different options that, that you guys are able to support your clients with.
Yes, it's for the most part, we try to stay really focused on web,
What?
Pretty much anything we do. One of the little things in the back of my mind is, can I do this from anywhere? So no desktop support. We don't do. We do have a couple clients that special friends or whatever that I'll show up and fix their phone or those kind of things. But mostly it's stuff that we can do remotely.
That's fantastic. That's great. So talk to me a little bit, about, you said you're not vertical and industry agnostic, that there's a bunch of different niches that you're able to support with. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, we do have some specialty areas. One is salvage yard. So one of our biggest clients early on was a salvage yard, and we, invested heavily in content marketing for them. So we've got, YouTube videos. This is 10, 15 years ago, YouTube videos on, for example, how to change the oil on a particular kind of truck, because when even mechanics can't find the dipstick because it's behind the seat, that kind of thing. So, we would go to our clients and say, what are the questions people ask you? And, and let's go make a video about that and answer that question. And now we have hundreds of thousands of views on videos about how to find the dipstick on a particular truck or whatever. So salvage yards, also a lot of them, they like Google ads, because when somebody needs a part, you need to have that part right now. And so you got to come up at the top of Google. People don't shop for those things over time. They kind of they go out, they hunt for it, and they find it. And, so salvage yards, but a lot of what I call tradesmen, right? So guys like we have septic companies, we've got HVAC companies, heat and air, electricians, construction companies. So anybody who's kind of got that niche, that specialty that they're really good at, we try to help them, take what they already know and try to get that on the web and make sure that, Google knows that they know answers to these questions. So that's a big part of what we're doing, is trying to help people, develop content on the web that answers people's questions.
Do you think that, it's that diverse selection of offerings and expertise really that you guys have that is really able to separate BroadstreetNet from its competition?
Yeah, I think the service level is a big part of it. Most people, they don't think highly of their web developer partner. Just as a rule, when I talk to people, they're like, yeah, I got this guy, I pay him this much money a month, but I've never hear from him, never. So we do have a good process for staying in touch. We review, all our accounts regularly, and we try to stay communicating with the clients, and, we're constantly back and forth. We're asking them for more information, but then we're giving them data, letting them look at the data that we're getting from the analytics and things like that, thinking about how they can grow. Most businesses, when they do their marketing well, they forget that they need it, right? So they get busy doing their thing, and they're busy, and that's good. But our job is to really kind of keep them on track, because they know that it's important, but it takes time. And so we're the ones that when they get busy, we're still making it happen.
I think that's a really interesting point too, that sometimes, certainly people take for granted as well, is having, a good marketing partner to be able to support, their marketing efforts, so that they know, even when, they don't necessarily see the work that you're doing right out front, they can trust you that, you're putting the work in and you're being able to support their business's growth.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. The trust thing, the relationship thing. So, a lot of our clients, I mentioned the attorney that, that first website, she's still a client. Those first 3 or 4 attorneys that I got after I did her site, one's in jail, but the other 2 are still customers.
Oh, geez.
So, that long-term relationships is a big part. I do know there's a few people out there that might, switch from this guy to this guy, but we usually say up front, like, we want this to be long-term. So we want you to kind of make sure this is a good fit. And the other thing, I've seen a lot of folks, we don't have a one size fits all. Okay. So some people, if you've got a website, I had somebody come to me and say, we got this website, we hate it, and then it's a pretty big group, a tourist group. And, they came to me and said this thing was old, it was outdated, they hated all this stuff. They just want to start from scratch, something real simple, whatever. And then I went and did a little research and looked at their analytics and stuff, found they were getting tens of thousands of visitors a month to this website, because it had great content, and been indexed, it's been out there forever.
Yeah.
So I said, why don't we take that and use that and just rebuild what you have? You know what I mean? And so we did. We took a different tack, and they're so happy because, their site it turns out in this case, they had a lot of a lot of businesses listed on their site. And so for some cases, they were the only web page on the entire internet for this small business. Right. So now they're providing a service to those businesses. And they're saying, "Look, yeah, there's a place out there." And so it's been a good experience. So yeah, working with the clients and helping them define their specific needs and not necessarily the one size fits all.
I think that's really great. And I think, it sounds like you're able, with the broad expertise that you and your team have, you're able to support the different needs that these clients have kind of in a white glove sort of way.
Yes, we try to stay in our lane. We don't take on things outside of our expertise, but we started out my expertise when I first started doing web development at home, one of the first things I found was something called Drupal, which is an open source content management system. Previously, I had built my own content management system, but I knew that wasn't a good approach, and so I picked up on Drupal and really focused only on Drupal for quite a number of years. And then more and more, Drupal's getting more difficult to use. It's getting harder to find experts. And WordPress, meanwhile, has, doubled, quadrupled in size. And so we do a lot of WordPress now. We've developed that expertise. And then really the third one that we focus on is Shopify for e-commerce, which we really love. It's got some great features and things. So those are kind of the three tools in our toolbox. We do support other people. Like we'll have a client come in and say, we have a Wix website and we love Wix. Okay, we can work with Wix. And we'll work with that and we'll work around that and we'll do what we can with that. But because again, the website is only a part of what we're doing, right? So we're doing the digital marketing part, we're doing probably social media, we're developing content, we might be doing blogs, SEO, all these other things, advertising, Google ads. So we don't necessarily feel like we got to go build you a new website every time when somebody comes to us.
Yeah. No, I think that's fantastic. That's interesting. You say, I'm curious to pick your brain kind of to that point. Would you say that that's kind of, it's a two-pronged question, I suppose. One, do you think that's a common misconception that people just think, oh, I need a new website. Let me just build a whole new website. Do you think that's a common misconception that people think that often? And then kind of the second one is just in general, what do you kind of, in your experience, what are some of the biggest misconceptions in the industry right now?
Yes, I do think people think they just get a new website. I think it comes down to really probably the answer to both of these is number one is they don't see the value of all this other stuff, right? So they don't, this group, they didn't realize that website, what they saw was it looks ugly and it's kind of hard to use. And there's a couple weird error messages. But what they didn't realize is that they had built up this credibility with Google that was a major force. I mean, it attracts a lot of visitors. And so since then, they've taken and capitalized on that and built, something beautiful on top of that. But the other thing is, remind me of the second question.
Which is common misconceptions in general in the industry.
Yeah. So one it's kind of related to that is that people think it's easy. Okay. Especially at the lower end of the market. It's very common for somebody to think that their nephew could do this because he's real good with computers, and so we take on a lot of projects sometimes that were done by somebody's nephew, and that was fine for step one. They have a web page. That's all I can really say. They have a web page. They have a domain, but the value of it is greatly enhanced when you can do it a better way and make it so that with the SEO and content and Google, I mean, all the things you can do for free with Google, you need to take advantage of those. And so most kids aren't going to know to do that. And so I think there is sometimes a perception that it's easy or it should be, and so that's part of my job in the sales process is explaining why you could do a $200 website and you could try to do it yourself this afternoon. Here's what you'll miss. Here's all the things that we do and why these are important to you for the long term. So that's kind of where I'm at in the process, in sales process, just kind of explaining the value of it and then seeing kind of where they come down. If they believe me, then they'll probably sign up.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's an important, point to note, that people think that, and not knocking anybody, but just kind of in what I've seen is that people think that they can just do a YouTube search and learn how to do it and, learn how to, just figure out how to do it themselves. But there's a lot of skill that goes behind it. And there's a lot more that people don't necessarily see that, people like Broadstreet.net that you have, are able to supplement and, really take the website and take, content and, all of your offerings to that next level.
Yeah. So pretty much any deal we do always involves an ongoing support agreement, but it's not, we don't lock anybody in. It's month to month. I usually ask people to try to hang in there for 6 months, at least give it a try. But I did have one just like 2 years ago, an e-commerce site. We built a beautiful site. It was very functional. It was gonna, the plan was to integrate it with their inventory backend. And so we had all this set up and it was running great. And they got the store up and running. And like a month later, they're like, we're going to do this ourselves. Okay. All right, good. So she called me like a couple weeks ago and she says, I'm in a mess. She says, I don't even remember where my website was and I don't have an account. I don't know what account it was with. And I go out and Google and sure enough, she's completely off the internet. I mean, she just, I mean, again, we can start a support plan at $150 a month. I mean,
yeah,
it's worth it. It's an insurance. I can tell you that never happened to anybody where I was managing their site.
Yeah, right.
And so that's the kind of thing people think. They're penny wise, pound foolish is what my mom would say.
Well, Tom, this has been, a great conversation. As we start to wrap up, is there anything that you want to leave our listeners with, either, about the industry, about Broadstreet.net?
I think I'd like to make the case for having a partner, somebody who thinks about this stuff every day. That's one of the things, most people, whatever your business is, even if it's technology and you have the skills to do this, if you're focused on your business, it's a lot to try to come up with content and the things that you need to, continue to promote your business online, not to mention keeping up with changes on Google ads and things like that. I mean, every month there's a new feature. Every month there's a new something that you need to learn. So it's a lot to keep up with. I think there's value in having a good partner.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think well said, well said. Well, Tom, this has been a great conversation. I appreciate you breaking down, the industry, the different service offerings, that Broadstreet.net has, the expertise and experience that you have as well. I think this was a great conversation. I appreciate you being on Business Ninjas today.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, great to have you.